Hello, everybody. This is Catherine Toon, and I just thought I'd hop on really briefly. Just had some things come up in my family, and guess what? Family really does come first. Listen, if I do awesome things with ministry, and I quote unquote with ministry, and neglect my family, okay, it's not worth it, right? Because your ministry for your family comes first. And in the place where wow, stuff happens, and for family members, and for others, we don't always have the answers. I hope we're not saying that we have all the answers. We just know who to look to, who is the answer, and then we walk it out. And in that place where, wow, I don't have the answers, but, I care and I want to help. And sometimes there's just desperate straits, right? So there's always a ministry that you can do for people. And that is the ministry of being there. Sometimes there is the appropriate response is to cry with people, right? Hi, Linda. The appropriate response is to be with people in their pain and maybe hold them or talk to them or just hang out and say nothing, take them out for a meal, something, because very often people will work out their own solutions and God will lead them. And when there's things that you can do that God is leading you to do, then you should do those things. But sometimes you're just at a loss, but you can always, hi Sharon, you can always be there for people. You really can. And sometimes when you can't be there, sometimes like you are so logged or whatever, that means someone else can be there. So it's not that, you always have to be there for people. There are times when you really need boundaries. But a lot of times just may not have the answers. And, they need to connect with God, who is the answer. He's got something cooked up. He always does. Hi, Samuel. To help people. But we can be there when we're called to be there. We can just really be there, and that doesn't have to look like. Please don't start tossing people out. A Bible verse that is not like anointed and not helpful. Sometimes that just is gives death. They people feel blown off. They feel given a platitude. But your heart can say, you know what, this is what I've experienced. I have no idea how this is going to walk out, but I'm going to be there with you. And Jesus is already there with you. And my job is to help you connect to him and just know you're loved in the midst of your pain, right? Because stuff really does happen with people. And sometimes, it's a process. It's a process, and they're in pain, and people need ministry for their pain in the process, right? So you can choose to be there. Now, some people, what you want to make sure you don't do is make yourself the source, okay? Because you always need to point to Jesus. Hi, guys. Hi, Rick. Hi, Sheila. So, in other words, where you're there for people, that is awesome. But your job is to point to Jesus while you're there. So, you're Jesus with hands and feet. But I got news for you and me. We're not Jesus, okay? We are one with him. We are a conduit for his spirit, right? We are one with his spirit. But we are not him. So make sure that in being there, you don't make yourself the source. And sometimes certain personalities, um, uh, you know, uh, can have a tendency and a need to be needed. And that's not necessarily wrong until it goes wrong. Because understand, you are not the ultimate need filler. So you need to make sure that you're not operating in this, well, I need to be needed, so I need to make you dependent on me. That's called codependency. That is not healthy. But in the place where you get fulfillment in meeting people's needs, that's a beautiful thing. That's a Jesus thing. But just make sure you're doing it out of your union with Jesus, right? And you're doing it in rest. And then you are pointing to Jesus, right? And understand, even in the wow, being a conduit, you're also probably not the one and only person God is going to use to help people, right? So we need to be there. Let's not come out with a bunch of platitudes and I have sometimes, because many people have a need to like have the answer and solve the problem. And so just make sure that what you're coming up with is actually life-giving, because sometimes when you whip out a scripture, it's not life-giving. As a matter of fact, it's obnoxious. Okay. They need a person, needs someone who cares, not a platitude. Sometimes people do need to be reminded what they know of. And so you just need to be sensitive. Is this actually ministering life? And so if you throw a scripture out there and their eyes glaze over, that did not minister life. And so you can back up and say, I'm sorry, that probably didn't help, did it? And they're like, no, it did not. So sorry about that. Let you know, I do know that what's behind it is life and is good. And you can say, I don't always know what to do, and I don't always know that, but I am here for you, and I'll hang with you, and I'll, if need be, cry with you, or give you a shoulder to cry on. We can just camp out together. Maybe you can go for a walk, whatever it is. And so that is real ministry while they're in process, while they're grieving, while I have no idea what to do in this situation, but they don't have to be alone while they're going. And that we are called to bear with one another. And we are called, and let me say this, it doesn't have to be the man or the woman of God. Sometimes, people feel like, wow, I'm alone. I need help. I've got to go to the prophet or whatever. Listen, if you go to your neighbor who has Jesus inside them, right? One with Jesus, and they love you, that is a high call of ministry. And all the fivefold gifts are, they're just there to, oh my goodness, equip the body to do the work. So you know what? Be there for one another. You have no idea how powerful you are to minister to people, just because you don't have a title, or just because you're not maybe in leadership in the church, or whatever that is. You are powerful, and that is needed. Things are rough, and so we need all hands on deck. So our job as leaders, and your job as a leader in whatever you are leading, is also to help empower other people to minister to one another. And you know what? You don't have to have all your stuff together. I mean, like, I don't have all my stuff together. So like, if you're needing that in order to listen to me, you're barking up the wrong tree. And I will tell you, no leader has all their stuff together. We're all growing. And that's a beautiful thing, because, it isn't it amazing that we can minister and just not have it all together? And that is hope for you, that you can minister and you don't have to have it all together. You have something to offer. You are powerful. And I just encourage you to be there for one another. That is a lifesaver. That is a lifesaver. I look at the people who have been there for me, and maybe they weren't always the major leader or whatever, but they were just someone that God sent with a sweet heart, with a kind word, with a smile, with I believe in you, where, you know what, let's just hang together. I've got no idea what to tell you, but let's just hang together. And one way or the other, we're going to get through this. Man, that is a lifesaver. And you can always, hey, Kyle, you can always be that for someone. And yes, Rick and Sheila, I am coming out to Impact Church. Yes, so excited about that. Anyway, coming soon. Yes, super excited to be coming out. So anyway, that's kind of all I have. I was supposed to do a thing last night on the 3-strand live. I think that's the new name of it. Last night I wasn't able to, because I had to be there for my daughter. My daughter needed me to be there, and so you know what, our family's kind of having a rugged time. So if you want to lift us up in faith-filled prayer, and just speak good things our way, that would be awesome. But you don't have to. So do as you feel led. You know what? We've all got stuff, and sometimes you have seasons when you're really hit. And sometimes things are not quite so whatever, but we are doing this thing together. We could be there for one another in whatever capacity we have. And you know what? We're going to get this thing done. It's all good. It's all good. And we keep on looking unto Jesus, because he authored it. He finishes it. He gets to be the Alpha and the Omega and every letter in between. And we can, oh my goodness, be happy in the process. That is a happy rebellion. You do that, right? You do that. We're going to do this thing together. I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Hi, Tenderheart. You guys have an amazing day. Bye-bye.